Hello, yeah. Welcome to the Barron Breaks. So, as you can see, well, Airlie Beach, the gateway to Whitsunday Islands. So, well, yeah, it's just hot. It is humid. It is hot. It's the summer. Well, coming out of the summer, and so ideally you want to be in the winter. So Barron was here. When was here? Last year. The year before. Well, anyway, before Barron went to the US. So went to the US 31st of July last year, and yeah, so I did a trip from up to Whitsunday. So went, I think, Byron Bay, Gold Coast, Brisbane, and then to Airlie Beach, and then did a cruise, an overnight boat cruise on Siska. That was kind of interesting, yeah. I won't say too much about it, but yeah, it was good, and I would certainly recommend Siska. But there are other cruises or backpacker trips you can do, and also camping on the island could be interesting. Maybe 3 days, 1 day sleeping in the boat, and maybe camping the island if you wanted to get maybe the full experience. I think camping at the island, I think would be good. But having said that, yes, Siska was fantastic, and would recommend a Siska. But yes, ideally in the winter time, because summer is just so hot, or coming out of summer. And for the same reason, if you go to Europe, well, would you go to Europe in the? Yeah, you want to go to Europe in the summer, not in the winter, because it's just so cold. And I guess, yeah, it's just museums, Europe, isn't it? I mean. No. Barron did go backpacking 2.5 months some time ago, Europe, and there were some big features. Went skiing, so yeah, I guess that is the thing about going in the winter, is you can go skiing. So I went skiing in Austria. Was it Innsbruck? Went to in Austria. I thought Euro Disney, another highlight. Maybe better than going to the typical Disneyland in the US, just the fact it's kind of smaller. You can cover it all in 1 day. I guess the other thing is, yes, you're not going to get Wimbledon. You're not going to get the French Open. That's because that's sort of May, June in the summertime. But there are features, and also if you go south, it's quite nice. You get into sort of Spain. I guess if you went to, say, northern Italy, the temperature would be better. I don't know, maybe Greece, but is Greece part of Europe? I guess it is. It's sort of going south, though, isn't it? But yeah, if you go around the UK, London, it's just so cold. And then you go sort of inland, Switzerland with the altitude, Austria, freezing cold in the winter time. I don't know, minus 10 degrees potentially. So so the Barron, I don't know. I'm not sort of deciding what I'm going to do here. There's a waterfall, so you can take a tour to this waterfall and actually swim in kind of the waterfall, or the water surrounding the waterfall. Thinking of actually doing that maybe on the Thursday. Now, in terms of, I think jet ski would be a great experience, but it's a 2-hour jet ski, and it's quite expensive, about, I don't know, $250 or something. So may not do the jet ski, but could potentially do a jet boat. Now, I did a jet boat Sydney Harbour, fantastic, Thunderjet. But maybe, I don't know, maybe here, maybe on the, going out into around the Whitsundays could be quite good. At the same time, you could just do a sailing boat, a sunset sailing boat. A couple of options, but I'm probably going to just going to lock on this waterfall, and then maybe do another activity. So that's, I mean, the waterfall's only $50 anyway. If a Barron was to do a sunset, I think that was 80. Was it 80 or 70? And the jet boat 80. So yeah, that's not too bad. Could do, yeah, to do a day trip to an island, probably 130. There was another island, but yeah, you don't want to be, I don't know, on an island. If you're just stuck on an island, walking around 4 hours in this kind of heat or humidity, could even be a bit of rain. There's no sort of cafes. Yes, there is Hamilton Island. Could do Hamilton Island, the famous resort, and you get the or you have a lunch at the marina on the island. Yeah, about 140, 150. It's quite a lot, just to visit Hamilton Island. Ideally, what you want is you just want a shuttle service, like a ferry, like a Sydney ferry. just kind of, over on some sort of pier. It just takes you to these kind of islands, just drops you off, and then you can come back at your own kind of leisure. That would be ideal, but no, it doesn't kind of work that way, Baron. You have to go on a proper tour. You have to do the tourist thing. You can't just get a local Sydney ferry. In fact, I don't think well, they wouldn't have Sydney ferries anyway. They'd have their own localised ferry. I don't know, Airlie's ferry or something. So now staying at Magnum's, fantastic. Yeah, recommend Magnum's. I'll do a video of Magnum's. It's this kind of sort of resort, but staying in a cabin. Yeah, typically backpackers, but it's just cheap. And you compare that to say Nomads or a typical dorm. You're basically paying the same price and you get your own space, your own cabin, and a really good kind of nice experience as well. I don't think backpackers know about it, or maybe they just want to stay in backpacker dorms. But I would recommend Magnum's. If in Airlie's, it's quite small. The cabins are typically quite small, but I think it's a good experience. And then maybe going on some sort of cruise to an island, or whether you cruise with Sunday Islands, and I don't know, maybe one night sleeping on a boat and maybe one night camping, something like that. But Airlie's is typical backpackers, and yes, you can go to Hamilton Island. In fact, you can fly to Hamilton Island, but I don't know, it would just be so expensive flying onto an island in itself, and the accommodation on the island as well. But I don't know, if you want the experience of staying on an island or in a resort, then yeah, it could be good. But then, there is Magnetic, and the Baron is going to Magnetic Island and staying at a backpackers. I think Magnetic's probably the only island where you get a backpackers along sort of the coast of Queensland. I don't know any other island that would have a backpackers. Baron has been to Magnetic, but it was kind of only for a day and just got the ferry. So staying overnight, maybe, I can't remember now, maybe 3 nights. But yes, going to Townsville on the Friday, on Easter Friday, until Tuesday. But staying in Townsville, Airbnb, then Mission Beach, Cairns, and then back to Townsville or Magnetic Island before heading inland, towards, and eventually we'll end up at Darwin. In fact, Darwin probably around about mid-May. So I've only got, I don't know, maybe 1.5 months, just over, what's it now, almost April. So April, mid-May, just over 1.5 months of travel. Time to get to Darwin, 2.5 weeks Darwin, and then on the Kimberley's 10-day. So it's not that long. It goes fast. But it's all an experience. I guess you could argue it is challenging, but it's an experience, I guess the way the Baron does it, we're talking getting up, I don't know, 4 a.m. and trying to, get some work done. I think it's good to be working at the same time as travelling, particularly if you're going over a long period of time. You need a bit of focus. And it's good. All very nice, Baron. So it'll be 8 months as of the end of March, 31st of March. Left 31st of July last year, went to the US, and so 31st of March will be 8 months travelling without an address. I guess you can argue that have a locker, so yes, and be commuting between the locker, so not exactly travelling or free travelling without an address, just because the Baron does have a locker, and also commuting to the locker. Yes, you could have a yes, you could obviously have a place and leave your stuff at a place and then travel without returning to that place over a period of time. But the fact is, yes, but then you are paying for accommodation twice, which is why the Baron has done this option. But then if you were to do this option, does it count if you then return to the locker in between your travels, if you know what I'm sort of getting at? If you just store your stuff in a locker, do you have to continually travel for that period of time without commuting back to the locker to be classified, I guess, as some sort of nomadic way of life? So I wouldn't exactly call Baron a nomad. Just the fact that the Baron has been commuting to the locker in Sydney in between the travels after coming back from the US, went to Tasmania, came back from Tasmania, again went to the locker, and then went Blue Mountains, then to New Zealand, went to Melbourne, and then came back again to the locker on the way from Melbourne back to Sydney, and now doing a 4.5 monther, but before returning to the locker again. So yeah. Okay, I think I'll leave it there. Lovely place, isn't it? It's just divine. Just exquisite. And that was the Barron Breaks. Live from Airlies. Well, Airlie Beach.